3 weeks ago, Hannah Mitchell wore my dead mother's engagement ring to Dad's company gala, smiling like it was hers. I froze, my stomach twisted. She claimed it was to feel closer to family, but that moment sealed her fate. She wasn't honoring my mom, she was replacing her. Tonight, she hurled a fork at me in front of everyone. Now, she's barred from our home under psychiatric review. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. When I was 12, Dad used to give me his last quarter for ice cream. I thought love meant sacrifice. So when Hannah moved in with hugs and gadgets, I believed she cared. But the first time she swapped my sugar-free soda for regular, my blood sugar spiked dangerously. At the year, she played innocent, wide-eyed, worried. Deb believed her. That was the first sign. The love I thought I'd gained started to feel like quiet sabotage. Not long after, she redecorated the house. Mom's favorite paintings vanished, her scent lavender and lemon replaced by sandalwood. When I asked, Hannah said it was time to move forward. Dad nodded. Tired and detached, I watched helplessly as our home turned foreign. She gifted me a new lamp to match the aesthetic. I smiled, but cried later. I wasn't just losing memories, I was losing identity. And Dad was slowly forgetting the woman he once called his soulmate. As Hannah's control tightened, her tactics escalated. My medication doses went missing, labels switched. I once collapsed at school. She told the nurse I'd skipped breakfast. I knew it wasn't carelessness. I confronted her. She gaslit me. Maybe you're forgetting things. Sweetie, Dad sided with her, blaming stress. I stopped speaking up. Every denial chipped away at my sanity. I started journaling symptoms, timestamps, reactions. If I couldn't trust them, I had to start building my own truth. The day before my college interview, Hannah offered to help pack my bag. I was too tired to argue. At the university, my glucose meter was gone. I fainted mid-interview. The nurse said I was lucky. Hannah told Dad I'd refused to manage my illness. He looked ashamed for me. I heard him whisper, "She's not ready for college." That night I tore through my things buried under socks. I found my meter unopened, untouched. I tried talking to Aunt Lisa, Mom's sister. She listened but warned me, "Your dad's not seeing clearly." Hannah's been unpersuasive. Lisa once saw her shred a photo of Mom, claiming it was clutter. I begged her to talk to Dad. She promised she would. But the next day she texted me, "Don't involve me again." I felt abandoned again. Hannah was isolating me strategically. If no one believed me, I'd have to save myself alone. One morning I found my baby photo album in the trash. Torn pages, coffee stains, shredded covers. I held a ripped picture of Mom and me at the beach. Hannah passed by and muttered, "Declutering helps healing." My hands shook. Dad walked in, saw the mess, and said nothing. That silence stung more than words. I snapped a photo, tucked it into my journal. If I couldn't preserve the past, I'd at least record her destruction. The final blow came during my endocrinologist visit. Hannah insisted on attending. She interrupted, exaggerated my forgifensals, and suggested new meds. The doctor looked uneasy. Afterward, he asked to speak with me alone. I told him everything. He nodded. Concerned, "You're not crazy," he whispered. That validation cracked something open. I wasn't alone. I wasn't imagining this. Maybe, finally, someone saw past her smile. I walked out clutching the pamphlet he gave me on medical abuse. At Dad's company gala, Hannah played Perfect Pearls, soft voice, my mom's engagement ring on her hand. I planned my move. I switched her decaf with triple espresso. An hour later, she twitched, babbled nonsense. I stepped up with a mix. "She's not well." People turned. Hannah screamed, threw a fork, hit my armed blood, gasped. Silence. Dad stood frozen. Security rushed in. That chaos exposed what I'd endured silently. Finally, eyes other than mine saw the truth. Police arrived. Hannah sobbed, clinging to Dad, but he stepped back. I handed over my journal, months of entries, photos, evidence. Officers flipped through. Hannah's expression cracked. "You planned this," she hissed. I didn't deny it. The nurse on site confirmed caffeine overdose. As they escorted her out, she screamed, "You'll regret this." I didn't flinch. For once, I wasn't the one doubting my reality. I stood tall, bruised arm raised, surrounded by shocked stares, and finally, vindication. Back home, Dad avoided eye contact. He tried making tea. I didn't drink it. He muttered, "I shouldn't have seen it." I didn't respond. The air between us was thick. Guilt, silence, disbelief. He placed Mom's ring on the table. "She didn't deserve this." He whispered. I picked it up, slipped it into my locket. I didn't forgive him yet, but I also didn't slam the door. That night, I slept with my journal under my pillow, proof and shield. The court hearing came fast. I testified, clear voice, no tears, just facts. My doctor backed me. Hannah's lawyer claimed stress, misunderstanding, but the photo of the shredded baby album silenced the room. Dad wept openly. Hannah stared blankly. No apology. The judge ordered psychiatric evaluation and a restraining order. As she was let out, our eyes met. She smirked, but this time, her smile didn't win. I gripped my locket. My mother's memory just survived her. After the trial, Dad and I didn't speak for days. One morning he knocked, holding an old photo, Mom and me, at age 6, at a zoo. "I found this behind the drawer." He said, his voice cracked. "I'm sorry I didn't protect you." I nodded, tears burning. "Let's start with breakfast," I whispered. "No forgiveness, just beginnings." We made eggs quietly. The silence was no longer hostile. It was healing, the first peace in years. A week after the trial, I reviewed old journals and found a detail I'd missed, a receipt from months ago for wine Hannah claimed was Dad's favorite. It checked out. The timeline fit. My heart pounded. Had she told the truth about that one thing? For a moment, doubt crept in. Was every act malicious, or had I painted her in extremes? Still, I shook it off. One truth didn't erase months of sabotage. 2 days later, a nurse from Hannah's clinic called. "We found your number in her emergency contacts," she said. Hannah had listed me as next of kin. I froze. Despite everything, she'd claimed me as family. Why manipulation? Delusion? I declined any responsibility. Still, the unease lingered. What if part of her believed I was hers to fix, own, or destroy? That realization chilled me more than any threat ever had. She hadn't just wanted to erase me, she wanted to become me. I dug deeper into her past. Online forums, hospital reviews, anonymous posts. One caught my eye. She told me I was just like her, then broke me down until I wasn't. The timestamp matched her time at a different hospital. Another user wrote, "She isolated my son, made me the enemy." It wasn't just me. I printed them, filed them with my journal. She had a pattern, and I wasn't her first erasure attempt, just her last. At therapy, I told my counselor about the forums. She paused. Then said, sometimes abusers replicate cycles, not just destroy, they try to inhabit. That sentence echoed. Hannah hadn't tried to ruin my life randomly. She was attempting to wear it, replace my mother, rewrite our story. It made my blood run cold. I wasn't healing from a single betrayal. I was recovering from a campaign of identity theft masked as caregiving. That clarity felt like fire and frost. Dad found me researching and asked, what are you looking for? I showed him the forum posts. He read them slowly, eyes wet. She mirrored your mom, I said. Tried to erase her by becoming her. He sank onto the couch. She used my grief. He whispered for the first time. He truly saw it, not just her cruelty, but the strategy. He wasn't just fooled, he was targeted. That day, our grief finally aligned, unified instead of divided. A month later, I received a package from the hospital inside Hannah's belongings. One was a small music box I'd never seen. When I wound it, it played You Are My Sunshine, my mom's lullaby to me. A chill ran through me. That song wasn't public knowledge. Had she eavesdropped? Read old journals? It wasn't coincidence. She'd studied me, harvested me. I buried the box deep in my closet. Some melodies weren't meant to play again. Tara, my old babysitter, reached out after reading about the trial. Hannah used to volunteer at my clinic, she said. She always asked about your mom, creepy questions like her perfume. Routines. Tara remembered catching her in the break room sniffing a bottle of lavender oil. That was before she even met Dad. My stomach dropped. She'd planned this. Not a spontaneous romance and audition. She'd studied my mother long before stepping into our lives. I visited Mom's old workplace, hoping for something grounding. Her former coworker showed me an old group photo. My breath caught. Hannah was in the background, barely visible, in scrubs. She interned here once, a woman said, years before she met Dad. This wasn't random. She had circled us for years, inching her way into our world. It wasn't just about erasing Mom, it was obsession. And I had unknowingly invited her right through the front door. I opened Mom's storage chest, untouched for years. Inside was a birthday card addressed to me from Hannah. It was never delivered. The handwriting was perfect, affectionate. To my sweet girl. Chills ran down my spine. She's prepared for motherhood without a child. Written lies before she's earned trust. Dad had never seen it. I realized she wasn't trying to bond, she was rehearsing. Her love had always been a performance. I was just the stage. Lisa, my aunt, returned with something unexpected, an email Hannah sent years ago to Mom. I hope one day you'll see I could be what she needs. My jaw dropped. Hannah had reached out before Mom passed. Manipulative, kind-toned, presumptive. She wanted to replace you while you were still alive, I whispered. Lisa nodded, teary. That message wasn't about comfort, it was a claim. Hannah didn't wait for grief. She prepped her entry before the exit. A counselor at school mentioned she'd once seen Hannah crying in the hallway months ago. She said she failed her own daughter. The counselor recalled. I blinked. Hannah didn't have children. Or did she? Digging through records, I found a sealed juvenile case. Hannah lost custody years back. No details, just a name, Grace. I didn't sleep that night. Had she replaced her child with me? Her obsession wasn't just about Mom, it was rooted in loss. I found Grace, she was 22, lived in another state, and wanted nothing to do with Hannah. But when I called, she listened. If she found you, Grace said. Run, she doesn't want daughters, she wants mirrors. My hands trembled. I wasn't the only one. We were pieces of a pattern, left fractured and remade in her image. Grace ended with, you survived, that makes you lucky. I finally understood I wasn't healing alone. I was healing forward. The court sent one last update. Hannah had been transferred to a long-term psychiatric facility. I stared at the paper. No joy, no revenge, just stillness. I folded it into my journal, placed it beside my locket. Dad walked in silent. We didn't speak about her. We didn't need to. The war she waged was over. But the rebuilding our rituals, our memories was just beginning. Quiet healing is still healing, and survival, I was learning, is its own victory. I burned the music box. No ceremony. Just fire in a steel bin, watching plastic warp and metal curl. Dad stood beside me, silent. The lullaby wouldn't haunt us anymore. That night, we ordered takeout and watched Mom's favorite comedy. We laughed real raw, surprised by the sound. Grief hadn't left. But it wasn't choking us either. Some ghosts you bury, some you burn, and some you invite back gently with boundaries and stories of who they really were. I applied to college again, this time on my terms. No sabotage forms, no missing medical records. I wrote my essay about surviving coercion. I didn't name Hannah, but I named strength, clarity, resistance. I mailed it with a pressed lavender flower, Mom's favorite, from her old garden. It felt like a goodbye and a beginning. I wasn't defined by what she tried to erase. I was what endured, and I was ready to start something finally mine. Dad joined me at Mama's grave for the first time in 2 years. He brought wildflowers, she hate roses. He joked softly. We sat in silence, then he whispered, thank you for not giving up on me. I didn't cry. I just reached over, squeezed his hand. That moment felt like a full circle, not fixed, but connected. We'd been divided by lies. Now, we were rebuilding with truths, awkward, painful, but ours. And that mattered most. One afternoon, I found an old voicemail from Mom buried deep in backups. Her voice was light. Remember, sunshine, you're stronger than you think. I played it again and again. The timing felt unreal. I copied it to 3 devices, wrote it out by hand, whispered it before sleep. Hannah tried to erase her, but echoes don't die, they wait. And sometimes, they return exactly when you need them, reminding you who you are, and always were. After everything, I no longer doubted what I saw. I had lived it, tracked it, survived it. The guilt faded, not because I forgot, but because I understood. I hadn't become like her. I'd outlasted her. Therapy taught me boundaries, not walls. Dad and I were rebuilding, not perfectly but persistently. Some wounds scar, others teach. I didn't want to be who I was before. I wanted to be someone who remembered and still moved forward. I kept the journal, the photo, the voicemail, not as trophies but as reminders. I once believed love meant staying silent. Now I know love means protecting truth even when it's ugly. Especially then. My mom wasn't erased. She was remembered through action, through resistance. Through healing. Then I wasn't erased either. I existed, loudly, survived, fully, and every morning I woke up. That fact alone made me unstoppable. Months later, Dad and I repainted my room together. We picked soft yellow, Mom's favorite. He found a small note behind the dresser, sunshine. Always fight for your joy, her handwriting. We framed it, that wall became my reminder. Hannah tried to turn memories into ghosts. Instead, they became anchors. I didn't need revenge, I had resilience. And a father slowly learning that silence too has a cost, and love must be louder. When my college acceptance arrived, Dad cried. We celebrated with ice cream, his treat. Just like when I was little at the table, he said, "Your mom would be proud." I smiled. I carried her voice, her strength, her story, not as weight but as fuel. The girl Hannah tried to erase didn't disappear. She evolved, with truth as her weapon, and every step forward was proof that light always finds its way back. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.